I would like to tell you 2 poems, if I can. The first one is the one that's in the magazine, and you can, the review, and you can follow along on page 64, if you so desire. And the second one is related. The first one is called Many Couplets on Sculpture, and the epigraph comes from an art exhibition catalog by the Ghanaian sculptor El Anatsui, and that epigraph is that new wood has poetry in it, but old wood is poetry itself, time having worn off its prose. I walked out the back door in order to imagine peace. I saw an old wooden beam lying on the grass on its side. I rolled it over, and I saw that rot had disappeared most of its center and a large part of its end. Millions of ants crawled in it. I stood the beam on its square end and walked around it looking for abstractions, resemblances, anything to bring out, something to sculpt. I saw a left hand emerge. The beam became an arm reaching up. I dropped it. And most of the index finger broke on impact. Ants scattered. The hand grew slender, and I imagined this beam cut and painted, not smooth, but refined, into that lady finger, pointing to the ceiling in a gallery. And then I saw the bottom of the beam, that square end exposed since I dropped it lengthwise again, and it wasn't square at all. It was square-ish, a squared collection of the wood grain stripped and pointing all away from the hand I had figured as the point of the art. That end would be hidden in a gallery, confined to the shadow of the sculpture under bright fluorescent or track lights. And then I went to a play. Oh, but I almost forgot. While the beam lay reposed on the lawn, a brown cat jumped up on it. I hadn't heard the cat sneak up on my right. I'd been busy looking at the bugs, knots, cracks, splits, and dirt on the beam itself. And now that I mention it, I'm not sure that the cat was actually brown, but it definitely had an orange collar on. Or was it red? You'd be surprised how many colors one old squarish beam has. Or for that matter, how many are on one old fat tabby cat. Not that they matched. Anyway, when the cat came, I was moved to move and look at the beam from some different angles, and that was when I noticed the uneven bottom, where I would have hidden as the base in a gallery and not been able to enhance or exploit or generally artify. Is that a word? To artify. Yeah, verb transitive. To make like art. To steal. To reuse. To cheat. To collar as a pet. To brand as one's own work. Found poetry. To sublimate desire into wood. To peace. To peace. To fake it. To relapse into language even a cat would ignore. Thank you. The next one I don't have so dramatically memorized, but I think that it's related and can be the judge. This is called Accomplice to Catricide. That's not, okay. Accomplice to Catricide. When I was young, I had a cat, Pierre. He used to cross Park Avenue to sit in his favorite tree. The tree had pink, fuzzy, pom-pom blossoms and a trunk that rose in gnarled knots, like an old carpenter's knuckles. One Thursday, when Pierre was coming back from across the street, he was run over. I don't know who the driver was. They never leave a note. It was a hit and run, except not for Pierre, who crawled out of the road. When I came home from school, I brought him inside, but he died soon afterwards. We buried him behind the garage, and most Thursdays are rainy. When the thunderstorm let up last Thursday, I crossed Park Avenue to smoke a cigarette and watch that tree across the street. Behind me, dogs began to howl at the rain, while the smoke tree just stood there, silent and embarrassed, like an old carpenter wearing a tutu to his murderer trial. I flicked away the cigarette, and everything grew still. The raindrops, the wind, the smoke and steam and sweat of the city hung weightless, and the howling ceased, and in that moment, a long flash of lightning split the sky. The old carpenter flexed his knuckles, shook his thistles, crouched and leapt like Nijinsky, solemn and silent, to meet Pierre, waiting thickly like Judgment Day, smiling like the thunderbird. The moment broke. I turned, and rain fell, and the tree was still alive, yes, but still, and still mute. And behind us, a dog howled again. Thanks.